If I can bring this meeting to order, the Village of Villa Park Board of Trustees meeting, May 22nd, 2023. Clerk Konecki, please call the roll.
Trustee Alfano?
Here.
Trustee Cordova?
Here.
Trustee Corkery? Trustee Kozar?
Here.
Trustee Kumar? Trustee Patrick?
Here.
President Kazone.
Here. If we can please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we could please remain standing. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together this evening. May we have meaningful discussions that will help us to assist our village in these trying times. Help us to make the decisions that will affect the staff, directors, and residents of Villa Park. Guide us through the challenges we face, and may we approach each other with respect and kindness as one group. In your name, amen.
Amen.
Okay, we're going to make one little change to our agenda. We're going to move item 6A, which is the promotions, swearing in of Deputy Chief Brandon Matsuka and Lieutenant Todd Gutzmer. We're going to move that to now. So Chief Stapleton, would you like to take a stand?
Excellent, thank you. The fire service is steeped in traditions, some more than 200 years old. The use of the bell, the Maltese cross, the bugles on our collars, and the insignias on our badges. The badge itself serves as a reminder that although you have achieved a higher level of authority, you have also been given a higher level of responsibility. To an outsider, the badge may be a simple piece of metal, engraved with symbolism and polished to a bright luster. To those who wear it, it embodies who we are and what we stand for: courage, honor, and commitment. Tonight's pinning ceremony is a culmination of years of hard work and dedication by these two individuals. If I can offer you two some advice, even with these new responsibilities and authority, one part of your life remains constant. That's your family. Never lose sight of that, because the family keeps you grounded. Take this all in. Enjoy it. This is actually a real big deal, and you've earned it. With that, I'd like to bring up Todd Gutzmer, who's being promoted to lieutenant. Todd's joined us tonight with his wife, Stephanie, his sons, Theo and Toby, his mom and dad, his brother and sister, as well as the extended family. A little bit about Todd. Go ahead, Osama. Oh, yeah. Can you guys grab the flag? A little bit about Todd. Todd was hired December 27th, 2010, 12 and a half years ago. He has numerous OSFM certifications and department committees. He's on our Foreign Fire Insurance Board. He's our Division 12 Water Rescue Team Coordinator, and he's also our CPR and AED Coordinator for the village.
Chief, grab that. You gotta slam it down. That base is bad. Switch out the base. Oh, is it working? Oh, okay.
I think they're just doing it.
Yes, ma'am.
Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name.
Todd Gutzmer,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution laws of the state of Illinois,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Illinois,
the laws and ordinances of the Village of Villa Park,
the laws and ordinances of the Village of Villa Park,
the rules and regulations of the Villa Park Fire Department,
the rules and regulations of the Villa Park Fire Department,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of Fire Chief, Deputy Fire Chief,
Lieutenant.
Lieutenant.
Lieutenant,
It's okay.
okay, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Lieutenant with the Fire Department
I will faithfully discharge the duties of Lieutenant with the Fire Department
for the Village of Villa Park
for the Village of Villa Park
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Now, since it was brought up, we can talk about the second deputy chief, or, I mean, I'm open to it. Maybe we'll bring it up at the budget time. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Keep
I'll mark
moving
that
along.
down.
Keep moving along.
I'd now like to bring up Brandon Mitsuka, who's being promoted to deputy fire chief.
Raise your right hand, please. Repeat after me. I
I,
state your name.
Brandon Mitsuka,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the laws, Constitution and laws of the state of Illinois,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Illinois,
the laws and ordinances of the Village of Villa Park,
the laws and ordinances of the Village of Villa Park,
the rules and regulations of the Villa Park Fire Department,
the rules and the regulations of the Villa Park Fire Department,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of Fire Deputy Chief
of Fire Deputy Chief
for the Villa Park Fire Department
for the Villa Park Fire Department
for the Village of Villa Park
for the Village of Villa Park
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
Brandon is joined by his wife Maggie, his daughters Grace and Lily, and his future son-in-law Kyle, and extended family. Brandon was hired on August 19th, 1999, 24 years of service. He was promoted to lieutenant in 2013, where he was recently the shift supervisor for Black Shift before the promotion to deputy fire chief. He holds numerous OSFM certifications and on department committees. He was our EMS coordinator. He's also serves as our communications coordinator for all radios and station-based dispatching. He's our designated infection control officer, 1 of 2, and he's also our liaison for DUCOM. Congratulations. Can we get a board photo?
I think we will.
Texting fine. So this is one way I don't have to negotiate against you if you are out of the union and come to DC.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, we're going to move on to item 3, public comments on agenda items. Clerk Kaneki, anyone signed up?
Yes. I have first Christine Murphy regarding 13A, 13B.
You want to wait just a second so we don't start with 3 minutes. Yeah, I think I can hear you now.
Hang on, he's gonna come. I think he's gonna do something with the microphone.
Murphy, 523 South Yale Avenue. I'm here tonight to speak on items 13A and 13B under old business, and I am against both of these. The WellQuest development project at the Metro Station, although I am and have made it vocal that I am in favor of adding senior housing in Villa Park, I am not in favor of putting the senior housing on the Metro Station, nor am I in favor of two 7-story buildings. So I am encouraging the board to let WellQuest know that the village is not willing to sell its parking lot. That is my position on 13A. 13B, the update on Echo Terra. The transfer of the property to the village has been a challenge for us, obviously. The agenda is stating staff is requesting that Hawthorne provide the village legal access to the parking lot in lieu of transfer of the property. I would encourage that we go in both directions. I am not in favor of doing this in lieu of the property transfer. I want our parking lot back. I would encourage us to attempt to gain legal access to the parking lot in addition to working toward continuing to move forward with the property transfer. And that would be my position on that. So that's what I would encourage the board to consider. Thank you.
Thanks, Christine.
Okay, we also have Reed Goodrich for same 13A, 13B.
Yeah, Reed Goodrich, 408 North Chatham Avenue. This 13.13, boy, you know, that's way too important to be handled as a routine piece of business. The implications on that, either monetarily or you know, the long-term effects on that, I mean, that should be given, you know, bolded and given a lot more emphasis. I'm going to start with 13B. And yeah, as a legal layman, that reads an awful lot like we get, you know, we don't get the parking lot back. We get a permanent easement. You know, that wasn't the deal. That was originally supposed to be, you know, you sell a piece of the parking lot there in the Metro, and then the city then gets the new parking lot as a replacement, and somewhere along the line, there was a modification made in the agreement where we would let Hawthorne Ecoterra have both so they could make it easier to tear everything down. Now, if I recall, when this came up, you know, almost a year or so ago, when this became apparent, that was a surprise to some of the board members. So I'm not sure how that deal got through, and it certainly sounded like it didn't get a lot of review. But, you know, to not get the parking lot back and trade that off simply for an easement, I think is a very bad deal on the part of the village, and very, very, very poor judgment. Now, as far as the well quest goes, I heard that project described once by an ex-village board member as 10 pounds of potatoes in a 5-pound bag. And while that may not exactly be common usage in a description, I think it pretty well describes that project. You know, and given the track record of Hawthorne Ecoterra at the moment, which clearly, to put it politely, has been a boondoggle, I would recommend caution on this WellQuest project, and certainly personally say that I think selling him the property or going along that kind of action right now is, again,
30
is not well
seconds.
advised.
I have no one else. No one else.
Okay, anyone else wants to speak on agenda items?
Al Bulthice, 1100 South Oakland. I want to talk about 13A. I would just hope that the board tells Wellcrest that they are not willing to sell that parking lot. That would cut the parking and 50% cut in the allowable spaces over there. You know, before COVID, we had quite a few parking. It was very well used. And you can't use, as an example, what's been the last 2 years. But I noticed, though, the number of people using that lot now has started to increase. I know right now some of the people using the train station with the occupancy rate in the downtown villages, in the Chicago village now is about 22% of vacancy. So as that, which we all know, will probably will increase the over the years that will go down somewhat. So I would just just say that once we give it up, we can't get it back. And there was a number of years past where we were trying to figure out where we could find where to put commuters. So I think it would be important just to tell them no. You know, I understand what he's trying to do. He's trying to make as much money as he can out of the piece of property that he's acquiring. But I will go with the 10 pounds of potatoes in a 5-pound bag, the same thing, because that's what he wants to do. He wants to maximize his profits. And I can't grudge him for that, but we have to look out what's best for the village. Once those parking spots are gone, we won't get them back. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Al. Okay, anyone else? Non-agenda items. Okay, item 4, amendments to the agenda. Do we have any amendments from the board? Okay, we'll move on to item 5, proclamations. Item 5A is a proclamation designating June 17th, 2023 as Veterans Remembrance Day in the Village of Villa Park. And whereas the Village of Villa Park has a long history of recognizing all veterans of past wars and conflicts, and whereas the Village of Villa Park remembers and honors the following 7 Villa Park veterans for their service to our country: Charles Doswell, World War I; Frank Bonfield, World War I; Stanley Ullman, World War I; William Hruska, World War II; Stanley Moldenhauer, World War II; Edwin Forsberg, World War II; and Floyd Haynes, the Korean War. And whereas these 7 heroes' remains will be interred for eternity in the Abraham Lincoln National Cemetery, 20953 West Hoff Road, Elwood, Illinois, 60421. And whereas a memorial service will be held on June 17th, 2023 at 1 p.m. at Knollcrest Sturley Chapel, 350 South Ardmore Avenue, to remember and honor these 7 Villa Park veterans. Now therefore, I, Nick Cazzone, President of the Village of Villa Park, do hereby proclaim June 17th, 2023 as Veterans Remembrance Day in honor of these 7 Villa Park veterans. And we have a young gentleman here that would like to speak about our ceremony on June 17th. Get right there. And just give your name, please.
Hello, my name is Cooper Marinette. I am a Boy Scout in Troop 99 from Downers Grove, Illinois. And first of all, I want to thank all of you, especially President Cazzone, as well as all you amazing men and women for all the support you've provided me thus far in my project. And I especially want to thank Eric Shoesmith, who's here with me, as well as Kevin Fitzpatrick and Emma Truxell from Cyril Chapel Funeral Home for all their expertise and unwavering support for my project thus far. And I'm very proud to be able to help remember these veterans who helped protect our country. As you said before, Charles Doswell, Frank Bonfield, and Stanley Ullman from the First World War, William Hersky, Stanley Woldenhauer, Edwin Forsberg from World War II, and lastly, Floyd Haynes from the Korean War, which has a really deep connection for me as I was born in Korea. And if it were not for him and the men and women who fought alongside him, it would be very possible for me not to be here right now. So I feel it's my duty to help preserve and respect these veterans. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'd just like everyone to know Cooper's is going for his Eagle Scout badge and in Boy Scouts, and this was his project, was to get 7 urns of ashes of veterans from Villa Park that either had no family around here or just kind of lost track of their family, and they've been sitting at Sturley Funeral Home for many years. And Cooper went out and got it, took care of that, and now he's got the ashes will be interred at Abraham Lincoln Cemetery. So congratulations, that's a great job and excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Good job. Okay, we'll have our second proclamation designating May 2023 as Military Appreciation Month in Villa Park. Whereas the Village of Villa Park has a long history of recognizing all military service members, past and present. And whereas May 2023 is recognized as National Military Appreciation Month, calling all Americans to remember those who gave their lives in defense of freedom, and to honor the men and women of the Marine Corps, Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, and Space Force who have served or are now serving our country. And whereas the Village of Villa Park extends its deepest gratitude toward all veterans, service members, and their families for their dedication. And whereas the Village of Villa Park will hold a ceremony for all service members and veterans on Monday, May 29th, 2023 at 11 a.m. at Cortese Veterans Memorial Park, 320 East Kenilworth Avenue, Villa Park, Illinois, 60181. Now therefore, I, Nick Cazzone, President of the Village of Villa Park, do hereby proclaim May 2023 as Military Appreciation Month in the Village of Villa Park. And I'm sure on behalf of the entire board, we all extend all of our gratitude to all of our veterans, present, past, and future, who protect us and keep us free. So thank you to all. Okay, now we will move on to our consent agenda.
Does anybody want to adjust the agenda, or did you already do that?
Yeah, we already did that.
Oh, we did that, okay.
Yeah. Okay, our consent agenda is, item 7A is minutes from the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees on April 24th, 2023. Coffee with the board minutes from May 6th, 2023. Bill listings for the weeks of May 8th and 15th, 2023, in a total amount of $778,331.84. And the minutes from the Committee of the Whole meeting on May 8th, 2023, and minutes from the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees on May 8th, 2023. And do we have a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Corkery, second. Trustee Kumar, any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Kornecki, please.
Okay, Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
President Cazzone?
Yes. Okay, item 8A is first reading on an ordinance to be codified. It's an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending Article 7 entitled Parking, Article 9 entitled Site Design and Performance Standards, and Article 14 entitled Measurements and Definitions of the Villa Park Zoning Ordinance. Manager Harline.
As noted in the past, the current zoning ordinance has some deficiencies in the text as a result of the process in which it was drafted and adopted. A year ago, a series of text amendments had been proposed to the Planning and Zoning Commission and recently adopted by the Village Board in a continued effort to remove inconsistencies and add clarification for the day-to-day enforcement and interpretation. This is the first read of an ordinance to address Article 7, Parking, Section 7.10, Accessible Parking, Article 9, Site Design and Performance Standard, Section 9.2, Fences, Article 9, Site Design and Performance Standards, Section 9.3, Visibility Triangles, and Article 14, Measurements and Definitions, Section 14.2, Definitions. And the Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously recommended approval of all the amendments.
Thank you. Okay, this is a first reading, discussion only, unless anyone has any questions or comments on this. Trustee Kozar.
I think everything in here is pretty benign in terms that it does look like everything is just being cleaned up. I don't believe anything in here would directly affect a current resident to make them have to change anything that their current property is, assuming they're not in violation, but that wouldn't apply anyway. So that said, I'd like to make a motion to waive that first reading and just move this along.
Okay. We have a motion to waive the first reading. Do we have a second? Trustee Patrick?
I would like to make that second, please.
Any questions or comments on that motion? Trustee Corkery.
I agree. I think it's pretty benign, but seeing as it is a change to the zoning code and not just something simple and matter of course, I will be voting to keep the first reading.
Okay. Just as a comment, I've been to the planning and zoning meetings when they discuss this, and it is pretty benign. Director McLaughlin's just been clearing up some kind of, a lot of these little Scribner errors and things that have been in there for a long time, so. Okay, any other questions? I'm sorry, Trustee Kumar.
I just want to make a comment. Thank you, Director McLaughlin, for looking into these things, cleaning them up, and working to get our code cleaner.
Sure. Anyone else? Hey, Clerk Kornecki, this is a vote to waive the first reading of the ordinance.
Yes. Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Excuse me. Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
No.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, so we have waived the first reading, so can we have a motion to pass the ordinance as read? Trustee Patrick,
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
we have a second?
Second.
Trustee Alfano? Okay. Any questions or comments on the ordinance itself? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Renecki, please.
Okay, Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to item 9A, is an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, prohibiting the use of groundwater as a potable water supply by the installation or use of potable water supply wells or by any other method, and this is for Charlie's Auto Service on St. Charles. Manager Harlan.
I go ahead and read the introduction, but we are still waiting on a final verification, so I would ask to postpone this ordinance till next meeting. Do you want me to go ahead and read the title, or I guess I should for... Yeah, okay. Perry Environmental is working to fulfill the obligations of the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency's Site Remediation Plan program to obtain a no further remediation letter for soil and groundwater contamination related to the property at 134 West St. Charles Road, currently owned by Charles Pickrell. This ordinance prohibits the use of groundwater as a supply of potable water through the installation and/or use of private potable water supply wells with revisions as required from the IEPA. Staff recommends approval of this ordinance eventually. Staff recommends that we postpone this ordinance until we work out the details between IEPA and Perry Environmental.
Okay. First, we'll need a motion to postpone this. Trustee Kumar?
That's what I was going to do. I'd like to make a motion to postpone this ordinance until we, as for the information that they need to complete this ordinance. So until the next meeting, date certain.
Okay, our village attorney says we can do it indefinitely until it's ready.
Okay,
I'd like
so
to make
then
that
I would
motion.
like to make a motion to postpone indefinitely until the information necessary to complete this request is obtained by the village manager and the village office.
Okay, do we have a second on that? Trustee Patrick?
I'll like to second that.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, there's a vote to postpone this. Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
think there's a question.
I was just going to say, I mean, as you know, Mr. President, it's a lot of work to go through and remediate a property. So every time that happens in Villa Park, it betters Villa Park because we're cleaning up properties. Those NFR letters, once you get them, they last forever. So they can't be taken away. I mean, there's nothing to take away. So we appreciate Mr. Pickrell going through this process and hope that it can be done quickly to get this moved along for him.
Yes. Yeah, I agree, 100%. Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, Clerk Renecki, please.
Okay, Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, so we will postpone that until the IEPA and the consultant can get things together. Okay, item 9B is an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, repealing the sunset clause of ordinance number 4727 related to the designation of local truck routes set forth in section 14-121 of Article 1 of Chapter 14 of the Village of Villa Park Municipal Code. Manager Harlan.
On March 14, 2022, the President Board of Trustees of the Village of Villa Park adopted ordinance number 4727, which specified local truck routes and codified them under section 14-121. These routes are for streets under the authority of the village, and if not so designated, trucks could choose any route that is the shortest to their destination. If an ordinance is not passed, the truck routes will no longer be enforceable. Truck routes are Monterey Avenue from Fairfield to Wildwood Avenue, St. Charles Road from Westmore Avenue to Salt Creek, and Villa Avenue from Wildwood to St. Charles, and Wildwood Avenue from Villa Avenue to Monterey Avenue. Staff recommends approval of the ordinance. A map of the truck routes was included with the packet, and Public Works Director Guerra is here if you have any further questions.
Okay. Do we have a motion for the ordinance? Trustee Kumar?
I will make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Trustee Corkery?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Trustee Kumar?
I have a question. This basically is extending something we had in place, but is it a yearly extension, or what's going on with that? I'm a little confused about.
This will make it permanent.
Permanent. It will make it permanent.
Yeah.
And so last year, we did not make it permanent, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, we wanted to wait a year before making it permanent. Okay. Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Rennicki, please.
Okay, Trustee Alfano,
Yes.
Trustee Cordova,
Yes.
Trustee Kozar,
Yes.
Trustee Patrick,
Yes.
Trustee Corkery.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to resolutions. Item 10A is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving an agreement with the Villa Park Historical Society for leasing 220 South Villa Avenue and museum services.
Manager Harlan. The Villa Park Historical Society has operated the Villa Park Historical Museum since at least 1987, when the village entered into a lease agreement with the Historical Society to operate the museum and the historic Villa train station at 200 South Villa Avenue. This agreement is intended to continue that relationship with the Historical Society, to lease property necessary for operation of the local historical museum, and to continue their operation as a visitor center. This agreement automatically renews with procedures to terminate if necessary. Staff recommends approval of the resolution. I worked on this with several iterations with Carol Marcus. I think we have a good and with our attorney to I think we had a good agreement here. I think it's something that we are now specifying services for fees as opposed to a donation, which is not entirely kosher. So this will continue the relationship. We'd still continue to give them $10,000 a year, and they would continue to do the excellent service that they have provided at the museum. It's really a pretty cool site, and anyway, if you haven't been there, you should.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a motion on the ordinance. Trustee Patrick?
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, we have a second. Trustee Kozar?
I'll second that.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay. Clerk Rennicki, please.
Okay, Trustee Corkery,
Yes.
Trustee Kozar,
Yes.
Trustee Kumar,
Yes.
Trustee Cordova,
Yes.
Trustee Alfano,
Yes.
Trustee Patrick,
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes. Item 10B is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a contract with R.W. Dunteman Company of Addison, Illinois, for construction of the Michigan and Vermont project in an amount not to exceed $1,496,030. Manager Harline.
The Michigan and Vermont Improvement Project is proposed in the Village of Villa Park's capital improvement plan, and the project's objective is to improve the condition of the roadway and improve the water system capacity and reliability. Construction of this project is budgeted in this year's calendar year 2023 budget. The project was publicly advertised for bid and competitively bid, with 5 bids received. R.W. Dunteman Company of Addison, Illinois, submitted the lowest qualified responsible bid. Staff recommends approval of a contract with R.W. Dunteman Company of Addison, Illinois, for construction of the Michigan and Vermont Improvement Project in the amount not to exceed $1,496,030. The village has been awarded grant funding of up to $600,000 for the construction of the project through the Community Development Block Grant Program, and funding for construction will be from street improvement and water supply funds. Staff recommends approval of the resolution. Public Works Director Guerra is here to answer questions and describe the project in more detail if you would like that.
Thank you. Okay, do we have a motion for the resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Corkery? Trustee Kumar?
I'll second it.
Any questions or comments? I just got one question to the director. Have we used R.W. Dunteman in the past for any projects?
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, we have. Dunneman has done projects, whether I'm not 100% sure if they're general contractors, I believe they have been, but they've also been on other aspects within our village.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. Any questions? Okay, Clerk Kornecki, please.
Okay, Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, Item 10C is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving an engineering services agreement with V3 Companies Limited of Woodridge, Illinois, for Phase 3 construction engineering of the Michigan and Vermont Improvement Project in an amount not to exceed $182,906.93. Manager Hartline.
Thank you. Thank you, President Kazone. The Michigan and Vermont Improvement Project is proposed in the Villa Parks CIP for this year. The project's objective is to improve the roadway and water system as noted in the above. Staff recommends approval of an engineering services agreement with V3 Companies Limited of Woodridge, Illinois for Phase 3 construction engineering of the Michigan and Vermont Improvement Project in an amount not to exceed $182,906.93. Phase 3 engineering is essentially the inspection engineering on the construction site. Director Guerra is here if you have additional questions about this project.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do we have a motion for the resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Corkery, do we have a second? Trustee Alfano? Any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Kornecki, please.
Okay, Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, move on to item 10D is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a contract with Joler Demolition of Arlington Heights, Illinois for the demolition project of the Community Recreation Building at 320 East Wildwood Avenue in an amount not to exceed $88,045. Manager Hartline.
To prepare Lions Park to be the site of the new recreation center is vital to the existing community recreation building and other structures at 320 East Wildwood be taken down, removed. Bids for the demolition of the CRB building were publicized on March 29th, and 11 bids were received and opened on April 25th, 2003. Joler Demolition of Arlington Heights, Illinois was the lowest responsible bidder, an amount of $88,045. After review of qualifications and references, staff requests the bid be awarded to Joler Demolition in the amount not to exceed $88,045. Funding for this project has been budgeted in the Building Improvement Fund, account number 67.502.02.401. Staff recommends approval of this resolution.
Thank you. Okay, do we have a motion? Trustee Patrick?
I'd like to make that motion.
Second, Trustee Cordova?
Yep.
Okay, any questions or comments? Trustee Patrick?
The question that I have is, if this is approved, when will the building be demolished?
I'll turn that over to Greg and Brian. Greg Gola, who's Director of Parks and Recreation, and Brian Roach, who's with him, who is the Superintendent of Parks and Grounds.
Good evening. Yeah, Brian Roche could answer the questions. He was involved with the bids and the process. So he also likes to come up every couple of months to say hi to everybody. So.
Thank you, Brian, Superintendent of Parks. In talking with Joler Demolition, right now they said it's a pretty good time for them. They're between things and stuff like that, but they utility disconnects are happening right now, almost completed. Once those are completed, asbestos has already been abated, so the materials are all good, the building is ready. They have to go through permitting with the village, but as soon as permits are completed, they're ready to go. So as long as that takes with the village, so.
How long does that process usually take for the village?
That might be a Public Works question, I guess, as to how long they get through the permitting. Or I guess.
Hey, he's my representative on all of that. Yes. I'll be his proxy. That usually takes a couple weeks, as long as, I believe the asbestos report has been already completed on the building. The disconnects, at least the water sewer from the building have been achieved. We'll do some further disconnects as the project advances. I believe the order for ComEd, NICOR has been put in. That one I don't know off the top of my head if that's been completed yet. So it should be a really quick turnaround. Since it's in-house, we're not charging, and it's our contract. We just want to document all that for our records.
Is this a project that will be completed in one day? Is this multiple days, or how much of a time frame are we looking at for the complete demolition?
Probably be a couple of weeks.
Couple weeks, okay.
Utility disconnects we expect to be done in the next week or so. We've already contacted ComEd and NICOR, and they're both in the process of working with us.
Thank you.
Trustee Cordova?
No, I can't.
Trustee Kumar?
Also, is this on the time frame that Williams and all of them are waiting for to get started? Because that's a concern for us, and I think that's why Trustee Patrick may have asked the questions he did ask.
I think that we're pretty much
We're on schedule. I'm just making sure we stay there.
Yes, we had anticipated getting demolition started in June to be done by the end of June or early July, which would still fall in line, and we're still on track for that.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, Clerk Konecki, please.
Okay, Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
President Kazal?
Yes. Okay, item 10E is a resolution to approve the quotes from Rush Truck Center to repair Public Works Truck 9, a 2008 International truck, for a total amount of $47,120.80. Manager Harline.
Public Works number 9 is a 2008 International Apprentice or grappling truck. It has experienced engine failure while in use during the week of May 1st. After an initial evaluation by the Village Fleet Department, it is determined that the engine was substantially damaged. There's more in the report in the memo, but the truck was towed to Rush Truck Center for further investigation. The engine it was determined the engine would have to be rebuilt. Additionally, they found both the diesel particulate filter and the diesel oxidation catalyst were plugged, along with the exhaust gas recirculation cooler, and it was leaking and 95% plugged. These components are required to be operational by the state of Illinois. To rebuild the engine in place at a cost of $31,415, and to replace the diesel exhaust component for a cost of $15,705 would lead to a total repair cost of $47,720.80. It would come out of account number 65.502.02.402 if approved by the board. Due to the importance of this trucks in the Public Works fleet and its frequent use, Public Works, in conjunction with the Fleet Department, recommend approval of the quote so Truck 9 can be repaired. And we have Director Guerra from Public Works here to answer questions. I don't know if Greg wants to answer any on behalf of Fleet, or just, is that all? But yeah, this is not a bill I'd like to bring to you, but it is a rebuild of the engine. We think we'll get about another 10 years. I'll let Greg, I'll let Michael respond to the rest of it before I start talking, trying to pretend I'm smarter than I am. So with that, thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion for the resolution? Trustee Kumar?
I will make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Alfano? Okay, questions or comments? Trustee Kumar?
I would like to know, if we get this repair, what is the warranty of the repair work? Because I feel like, you know, it would be nice to have some kind of assurance that it lasts at least a year afterwards, or whatever the normal warranty on repair services are.
I believe it's a 1-year warranty on the work, or there's a certain mileage, but I'll be honest with you, we'll hit the 1 year before we hit the mileage, just because we mostly drive that truck in Village and it doesn't go out of Village too often. But it's like it was a 1-year warranty for both the rebuilt engine, factory rebuilt, or the rebuilt in-house by Rush Truck Center.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Alfano?
I do have a question about the maintenance records and what that looks like for the trucks, not just specifically to this truck number 9, but to all trucks. What does that look like overall in general?
I can also defer to Director Gola, but I believe our fleet maintenance has a program where they maintain the trucks based on mileage and years and hours.
Yeah, that's,
Type of equipment, but I will defer to
thanks,
Director Gola.
thanks, Director Guerra. Yeah, we had instituted a new tracking system a few years back, probably 4 or 5 years now, and that's how they track when they do their monthly maintenance and repairs.
What does monthly maintenance look like?
Well, oil changes, tires, rotating, that type.
Trustee Kumar.
Manager Harline said that they expect about 10 years after this. What is your expectation? Because he wasn't very clear on that
I didn't
particular.
want to- I wanted to know
Or he didn't want to assert that.
So I guess a little bit of background, when Rush Truck Center founded, they believed that the diesel fuel injector broke off, and that breaking flooded the engine with diesel fuel, and that kind of correlates back to the exhaust system, as that is an environmental EPA requirement for exhaust on diesels, and this is one of our first trucks that had that. We believe it'd be 4 to 10 years. Obviously, it's a 14-year-old, or 14-and-a-half-year-old truck, so it is a little old, but it's a very important truck. The engine was good up until this point. We expect it to be fully good again, so that's why we expect about 10 years, and then by that time, the truck will be 25 years old. A lot of other components will probably be in need of a replacement at that time.
Is it based on mileage that you come up with those numbers, or how do you come up with those numbers?
In terms of?
How long a truck lasts?
Just based on the use. I mean, this one, that was the original truck, is 14-and-a-half years, and we really didn't have any engine issues.
Okay, okay.
And so the truck will be rebuilt, essentially rebuilding all new guts in the engine other than the casing. So that's, essentially, you're getting a new engine.
Yeah.
At that point.
Had that happen with the Subaru, so I know.
I want to hear that.
Trustee Patrick.
Thank you. This
Oh, it's
question
awesome.
is for
I have
Director
the
Gola.
third Subaru.
Director Gola, regarding your fleet tracking records, you said for the past 4 to 5 years now that you've been maintaining those. Does each village-owned vehicle have one of these records?
I believe they do, yep.
Okay, thank you.
President Kazan, I would want to sort of follow up on one thing, being fully transparent. This was one of our first trucks that had the full new environmental package for diesel. So we are reevaluating to make sure that we are doing a proper maintenance on some of the special features in these type of trucks. Not to say that we're convinced that we did something wrong, but we're going to try and see if there's anything we can improve on that, because this sort of catastrophic failure, if there's anything that we can do to improve our maintenance program based on this, we're going to try and I understand the question you guys are asking. We always are trying to improve. This was, again, one of the first of that generation of diesels that we got. So.
Okay. Okay, other questions?
Krenicky, please.
Okay, Trustee Kozar,
Yes.
Trustee Kumar,
Yes.
Trustee Patrick,
Yes.
Trustee Cordova,
Yes.
Trustee Corkery,
Yes.
Trustee Alfano,
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes. Okay, move on to item 10F, is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a local task force agreement with the United States Department of Justice. Manager Harline.
This agreement would permit the village manager, with the assistance of the police chief of Villa Park, to assign an officer to a special duty in cooperation with the federal law enforcement, should it become feasible to do so. And if you really want to see Chief Rivas get excited, ask him some questions about this. I think it's a really great opportunity for us to develop a stronger relationship with federal law enforcement, and I think there is possibility in the future of there being some financial money coming, some financial benefit to the village for seizure money. But I'm promoting this. I'm excited about it mostly because of the relationships. But again, Chief Rivas and his staff worked long and hard and for a long time to make this happen. So if you have any questions for him, he'd be more than happy to answer them.
Okay, do we have a motion, or no? Yeah, we have a motion for the resolution. Trustee Kozar.
I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, Trustee Patrick?
I'd like to second that.
Okay, any questions or comments? Trustee Kumar?
I would like to hear what Chief Rivas has to say of how he did such a great job of getting this to happen.
Well, we're also assisted by a neighboring town in doing this, and thank you for the question. So without the help of a neighboring town, we probably would not have this meeting and the benefit of this great program. It allows us to balance law enforcement along with care, because we also have a transformational grant that's allowed us to have a social worker. So we're working on the care aspect as well as enforcement. And what this also allows us, working with the federal agency, it allows us to have a better foster relationship with them moving forward. And as Manager Harline has suggested and mentioned, that there could be some financial return back to us in time to come, which would allow us more financial flexibility in the future.
Anything else? Trustee Kozar.
I know Deputy Chief Kubish was very instrumental in doing that, so thank you. And your leadership too, Chief Rivas. Thank you very much for that. Like you said, it is going to have a financial benefit to the village as a whole and to your department. I know that an officer is going to be assigned to that, but with the extra money that comes in, hopefully as a result of that, perhaps that money can trickle back into the police department and provide some funding for extra officers in your department. So all around, I think it's a big win for Villa Park, and it just shows the excellent work that our village, Villa Park Police Department is doing. So thank you for that.
Thank you. We would be remiss without not thanking Manager Harline for bringing this forward to you. So in years past, we had similar opportunities, and we were not able to bring it forward. So thank you, Manager Harline, for this opportunity.
Trustee Patrick.
I'd also like to piggyback off of Trustee Kozar's comment about the necessity of bringing on new personnel or more personnel. I think it's essential at this time, though, too, minus this officer, that we look at promoting another sergeant and also maybe hiring another off of our list downstairs. I believe they're both valid for another year, but I believe that it's essential that we get those that extra help on our force.
For the record, our list expires October 26th of 2023. So
with that being said, I think it's essential that we move a little bit faster. I think we could get our Police and Fire Commission involved with this, but that list does, it expires this year then. So we have some time to look into hiring those personnel if we can do such.
If I may, President Kazan, we are certainly looking at backfilling the position. They won't. One of the things we're trying to work with is with District 45 on an SRO position. We spend a lot of time there already, so even though they would be in that position and they would be tasked to District 45 a lot of the time, we think that would be, we'd be paying 40% of the cost. They'd be paying 60% of the cost if we make that work out. And I think that we would, considering how much time we spend over there, it would work out pretty well for us. In terms of adding another officer, we need to, there's a substantial financial investment in that, but we're looking at ways to make that happen. It would certainly be something that we'd look to do to add to the 24 budget as we move forward. So yeah, they're not long for, they don't have a ton of extra personnel, and there's some other things that they're facing, but adding police officers is pretty expensive. So.
Chief, is there still time this year to send people to the academy? Or is there a waiting list that probably we would not make?
There's always a waiting list, but the next academy at Celia at the College of DuPage is in August.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's what we're looking at.
Okay. Anyone else? Clerk Kornecki, please.
Okay, Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to item 11, public comments on non-agenda items. Has anyone signed up?
I had no one. No.
Okay, anyone for non-agenda items? Okay, we go on to number 12, new business. I'm sorry.
President Kazone, there is,
I'm sorry. Yeah,
I was approached by a resident that asked me to read their email into the record from Mark Paulson, who's also on the Video Production Commission. Good evening, my name is Mark Paulson. I lived on East Park Boulevard, and I'm a native floral enthusiast, naturalist, prairie advocate, and a plain old garden geek. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Environmental Concerns Commission for pushing No Mow May and the board for being open to it and voting for its approval. No Mow May, however, comes with a caveat. I believe it is a well-intended movement and works as a very basic, rudimentary step in raising awareness as to the importance of pollinators. However, by not mowing for a month here in our area, the flowering plant that will pop up in the lawn is mostly dandelion. Yes, perhaps some of the clover and henbit, and yes, these flowers will attract pollinators, although the benefit to them is questionable. The invasive dandelion is not a great food source for our native bees, which benefit more from the pollen of native plants, shrubs, and trees that precede or coincide with the typical flowering weeds from our lawns. The underpin problem is that No Mow May is based upon letting non-beneficial turf grass grow along, which can harbor ticks in your backyards, lacks a proper ecosystem, and the proliferation of dandelions, which can inadvertently cause a divide among residents and lead to an unfortunate misunderstanding of the whole thing, ultimately putting the well-intended initiative at risk to backfire. No Mow May is the proper vehicle for a true shift. When dandelions increase and end up in a lawn enthusiast's immaculate turf, he or she will reach to herbicide and start spraying like they've never sprayed before. And that's no good for pollinators, kids, pets, or our water. A far better approach would be to encourage homeowners to turn a small patch of lawn into a proper native wildflower garden or micro prairie with native plants and grasses that will support the cycles of our native bees, endangered butterflies, many beneficial insects, birds, and mammals from spring through fall, and provide habitat over the winter. This approach will not only be more ecologically sound, but will also be far more attractive than a shaggy lawn full of weeds. The point is that there is a lot of ways to support pollinators, particularly important native and endangered species, that will have more impact than keeping the lawnmower under lock and key for a month. And with that, I challenge the board to create this type of dialogue going forward, and the Parks and Rec staff to take a more ecological awareness approach when it comes to landscaping and pre-existing and future green space. I loved hearing that it is in store for Lufkin Park in this regard. I believe we have several opportunities in the Garden Village to return our Illinois Prairie State heritage by planting a prairie reconstruction in one of our several vast, open, and somewhat defunct or used spaces. I love to hear the trustees and the village manager's thought on this particular idea and the aforementioned ideas as well. I would be happy to engage in further discussion, act as a consultant, and assist in the board and staff in any way possible. Thank you for your time and consideration. Mark Paulson. I would like to just make a comment on that as well. There are several studies that illustrate how reducing the frequency of mowing benefits bees, as well as butterflies, grasshoppers, and many other insects. In central Kentucky, 26 species of bees were recorded visiting dandelion and white clover in urban suburban lawns. Researchers in Massachusetts found 93 species of bees visiting lawn flowers with great diversity and abundance on lawns mowed every 2 or 3 weeks. Some studies also indicate that less intense mowing practices lead to fewer pests, as well as potential cost up to 36% for managers by reducing mowing frequency from 15 to 10 times per year. Just allowing weeds to grow is better than no flowers. However, typical lawn weeds may not be the best for bees or the best neighbors to other flowers. Dandelions, for example, have a pollen that is low in protein, or it's poor nutrition for bees, and is known to suppress other flowers. Bees need more than just long grass and weeds. Mowing less is one step to help bees, and it isn't enough to save the bees. The best way that we can protect over 3,600 species of bees in the U.S. is to plant a variety of native plants that bloom consistently throughout the growing season, provide natural nesting sites, to reduce or eliminate pesticide use, and to spread the word. Educate our friends, our neighbors, and the elected officials about pollinator conservation. Therefore, I'd like to request that the Environmental Concerns Commission continue to explore ways in which we as a village can enhance our No Mow May initiative and allow Villa Park to live up to its slogan, the Garden Village, and protect our natural resources and set the standard for healthy and safe environmental practices. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll move on to item 12, new business. Do we have any new business? Case. Trustee Kumar.
Can I piggyback off of that and suggest that we have a COW that deals with that particular issue? Because I myself have personally found it very difficult to keep to No Mow May, at least in my backyard. It grew pretty darn tall, and we have a very prolific garden, and it became kind of invasive into the garden area. That was a bit of an issue between husband and wife. So, given that,
Yeah, we don't want to have marital problems because of No Mow May. Okay, yeah, it's something, Manager and I, we can talk about that.
Yeah, we could have maybe a COW, which the Environmental Concern Committee can also participate at as to the best process.
And we'll include marriage counselors.
And, yes, thank you.
Preserve the domestic tranquility.
Trustee Patrick.
Thank you. I totally agree with Trustee Kumar on that as well, and I am one of the biggest supporters of the No Mow May initiative here in Villa Park, but I will admit that I did have to cut my lawn too this weekend. Generally speaking, right now, it is an initiative to about awareness about our local pollinators, and I think what we have done so far has been a great starting point, and I thank the Environmental Concerns Commission for getting the ball rolling on this, and I'm looking forward to discussing this further in meetings like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Alfano.
May I ask, I know that by Ovaltine off of the Prairie Path, somebody has planted the butterfly and the pollinator garden. Do we know who, was that Parks and Rec?
The village, yeah.
Or was that the village? Was it
Probably about five years ago, maybe? 6 years ago?
It's beautiful, and there are residents that don't know how to do that. So I'm wondering if we could find a way to have some educational outreach on that as well.
Sure. Okay. Okay, we will move on to item 13, old business. Item 13A, the WellQuest Development Project at the Villa Park Metro Station. Manager Harline.
WellQuest Living in cooperation with Dial Corporation and Iceberg Development have proposed a senior living development consisting of two buildings. One 7-story building would consist of 70 units for independent living, and the second would be for 7 stories with 151 units for assisted living and memory care. The project, named Union Place Villa Park, is contingent upon WellQuest purchasing the village's Metro parking lot. At some point, the board would have to declare the property surplus to go through with the sale. Staff would like direction either to bring them in and negotiate further. We've asked them the questions that the elected officials asked us. I think we reported on that in our memo. Or let WellQuest know that the village is not willing to sell its parking lot under the conditions. They are not interested in working with Ecoterra. They are not interested in buying the Ecoterra site. Ecoterra is not interested and was a little concerned at first about the WellQuest project. WellQuest is not interested in reducing the number of parking spaces that they would eliminate. So unless we get into sort of a more of a trade, start to talk about trade-offs in a long-term negotiation, I don't think we can get anywhere. And I don't know, so far they have not seemed terribly flexible from their original plan, and staff is concerned about, he's not here, so you don't have to tell him. I actually agree with Reed Goodrich completely on this. I don't think we necessarily want to give away the parking lot for this particular project. I think the chance of us, especially if you're talking about trying to support the environment, we would like to encourage transit-oriented development, and we'll get through the Ecoterra thing eventually. But this project reduces the available parking spaces and unless we negotiate a better deal with WellQuest, we would not get we get a worse product for a train station there. It would not be a they call it a shed, I think is what they described what they would build for the metro station. So we need to, the proposal I don't think is one that staff is crazy about. So either we need to have some latitude to negotiate some back and forth with them and find out if there's any common ground here, or just say no. Those are our two, that's our plea. Okay.
Trustee Patrick.
I like the idea of the project. I understand the parking situation as well. I think if WellQuest is willing to go over their preliminary designs and come up with better solutions for our parking, I'd be open to hearing that as well. But I do believe that we have to protect that area, keep it within the village, unless they come back to us with a really good offer that could maybe potentially alleviate our parking concerns over there. But as for me, I would have to pass right now unless that changed.
Okay.
Trustee Kumar.
I have not been favorable to this project from the beginning, and I am still not favorable. Already we have a bit of an albatross in Ecoterra. I have to agree with Mr. Goodrich that we need to get that straightened out before we do any other. Once we give them the option to build, we seem to have very little in terms of ability to fix and get things moving. So at this point, I'm a no, complete no.
Just Corkery.
So I quite like the idea behind this project, and I would be willing to give up some parking, probably considerable amount to see it happen, but you definitely need to have a train station, and you're saying that they're not going to, don't expect that they'll be able to provide anything at the level of or better than what we have now?
Well, their proposal does not have that. So I mean, if you want the staff to continue to further negotiate, but with the stipulation that there be a much nicer train station and that we protect there needs to be more public parking, I think that will kill it, but we can bring that back to them. And then I'm not sure if I understand, Trustee Pastrick, if you want the village to retain ownership of the parking, or did you just want us to have a lease where they were proposing that we lease back the...
Simply, we need the parking spaces. So whichever way gets us, our residents parking there is what I'm for. I believe that we do need a project here in town for senior housing, absolutely. But at that location, it would work for me if our parking met our demands from our residents. Right now, it just doesn't.
Okay.
I agree with, in addition to what you had said. You know, the last time when WellQuest was in here, we basically told them we like the idea, but we don't like 7 stories and we don't like losing parking. And it was brought to their attention, and what can you do? And they're basically coming back and saying no, and they're not here tonight to plead their case. So I personally agree with Trustee Kumar. I was not real happy with 7 stories and losing parking there. And if they're not willing to negotiate at all, and coming back with some kind of counteroffer, I would say just let's tell them we're not interested. Trustee Corkery?
We would retain the south side of the parking on the south side of the train tracks, right? It's just the north side? Just the north side. I would be willing to continue negotiating on that, but if they're talking about a shed instead of a train station, that's really not going to work.
Yeah, they're not real interested in the train people there at all. They're just interested in their developments. At least it seems to me, what they were looking at.
I'd need to see a lot more commitment to the train station and to commuters in order to go ahead with this.
Sure. Trustee Cordova.
Yeah, no, I'm a hard no here as well. I've been taking the train for the last 6 years. I'm only taking it twice a week. 4 years ago, before COVID, if you were there at that 9 o'clock train, you had to park on the street somewhere. And looking at this, I know there's, right now if you go tomorrow, I'll be there tomorrow, but I'm going to count to see what those trains look like, or what the cars look like on the north side. But there's return to office happening right now. Big, massive companies are bringing people back downtown, and it's only going to get more full. So when I read this earlier, or when I got this, I was like, oh absolutely not. So, especially if they're not willing to compromise at all.
Trustee Patrick.
I don't know if this is a question for Director Burke or the manager, but I thought I read somewhere that the current Metro station is under contract to be sold. Do we know who is that?
We believe it's Dial Corporation in this agreement. 'cause
So
this-
do we know for sure?
Do we know for certain?
Director Patrick?
Yeah.
Director Burke.
Good evening. Yes, it's always been Dial Corporation, and then they've brought in these two other development groups.
Has that finalized that sale?
No. I did contact Union Pacific for an update, and they said our station is under contract.
So if it is in fact WellQuest that is buying the property, they will be invested in that area, which might be motivation enough to come back to the board with a revised plan for that area.
We can take one more shot at them and say that we want a attractive, comfortable train station, and we want at least 200 spaces protected on the north side, if not the full amount. I almost guarantee you, based on everything they said, that they will not accept that, but we can always take one more run at them. And
what would the value of that, owning that property, be if you can't create anything on there?
oh, I think they'd pull out. I don't think that if they couldn't get the deal, I think that they would stop. I mean, one of the things was they're trying to, Union Pacific wanted to sell all of their train stations to one entity. Okay. And the idea was that Dial Corporation was big enough that they could buy all of them. I know several of them are not going to be sold. Okay. They're either that, there are several cities that aren't, villages that aren't, either have bought their own or are not interested in that deal.
Yeah, I think Elmhurst bought theirs, correct?
Yeah.
And that would have been my next question. Has the village considered purchasing that property outright, or what would the cost of that even be? But being that they're telling you that they're under contract, are they willing to give us a price on what that would cost?
I could contact Union Pacific to see if they would.
Thank you.
I think I don't know, somebody who's older and wiser and been here longer, I think there was a time that we tried to purchase that station a long time ago, and the price was higher than we were willing to go, but I'm not 100% sure that's true.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Kumar.
I think I would suggest tabling this, not tabling, if we vote against this, just voting against this, then waiting to purchase the station afterwards, because this is not a good way to, if they think they can sell it to us, they're going to play games. So just let it go at this point.
Just goes there.
So I think the question here is not whether or not we like the WellQuest project as it is today. The question is, should we keep talking with them? And if we can come up with something that actually makes sense. I think the whole board is very clear that they don't like the parking arrangement as it's presented here today, that we need 200 plus spaces. If they can bring us something that checks all those boxes, then we can look at it again. And that doesn't mean that we're going to agree to it, but we're going to keep talking about it. The only thing on the table here today is, should Director Burke and the other parties involved in the village continue to talk with somebody who potentially wants to do a development in town. So I'm for talking and then bring back something. If WellQuest comes back and says, no way, shape, or form, we're not doing it, we're not bringing you, we need the parking and we're not going to give you 200 and plus spaces, and deals off, we're walking away, so be it. But let them tell us that they're going to stop negotiating. We should, as a general rule, we should never stop negotiating, and we should never stop talking until we absolutely can't put a deal together, and that's not what I'm hearing today. We don't like the deal on the table, but nothing is saying that we can't put a deal together, but it's got to check all the boxes. So they're going to watch this video at some point, and maybe they're watching it now, and they're going to see how all the rest of the board feels about it. Take that back to them and say, now you understand what you're up against. Make it happen if you really want it. That's my opinion.
Trustee Corkery.
I'll just agree with Trustee Kozar. I like the idea of higher density transit-oriented projects like this, and I don't think there's any harm in continuing to negotiate.
If I could, one more comment. We will bring that back now with the elected officials saying the same thing that we've already told them and see if they change their mind.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
correct.
it makes
I mean,
a difference that the elected officials are saying this.
I mean, because we told them the last time they were here, too big, and we need parking, and we want a train station, and they basically said no. But yeah, we can do that. We can let Director Burke know to tell them that, if they don't change their proposal, then we're not in favor of it. Trustee Kumar.
I'm asking that we deal with this sooner than later to give a clear picture, and that, we get an update as clear and quickly as possible, rather than just kind of dragging this thing on. It's not fair to the residents around there. They have to have their plans and their ideas taken into account.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we can just get a consensus on, is that what the board would like to see, is Director Burke to go back to WellQuest and just say, if we don't like their proposal, we want less stories on the building, we want more parking, and we want a train station that's acceptable to us before we would approve anything. Is that pretty much everybody would like to see? Okay, let's go for the consensus.
Okay, consensus. Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
No.
Okay, Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
And President Casone.
I'll say yes. So we'll see if they'll come back with anything and see what that is. Thank you. Okay, we'll go to item 13B is an update on Echo Terra. Andrew Harline.
Well, staff is encouraged by the replacement of the standard chain link fence with the opaque fencing in the construction site. That's the transfer of the property to the village and other progress on negotiations. Second redevelopment agreement have been slow. Staff believed that we were going to be, that the transfer of the property would be finished by this meeting. We then found out that Hawthorne really cannot do that because of their current, the current status of the mortgage on that property. In the interim, until we get our property back, which is required by right now is June 30th, 2022, we're charging them to find a legal access, whether it's a permanent easement or a long-term lease or something of that nature. It's questionable as whether the mortgage holding companies will grant that, but it's a first step while we work towards other legal options, which we can discuss in closed session. So basically what I'm telling you right now is we don't have the property, and we have some difficulties getting the property, and we're not really as keen on, we're kind of in a stalemate, and we'll talk about, then the rest I think would probably be better off discussed in closed session. Okay. I don't know if Director Burke or wants to add anything to that.
Yeah, that's about it. We can discuss the rest later. Yeah.
No. The use of the word in lieu of was only temporary. It's not instead of in the long run.
Yeah. Okay, we'll move on to item 14, Village Commission reports. 14A, the Environmental Concerns Commission. 14B, the Planning and Zoning Commission Chair Report for April 13th, 2023 and May 11th, 2023. And item 14C is the Environmental Concerns Commission Bike, Pedestrian, and Transit Subcommittee Minutes from March 23rd, 2023. And that is basically here for, just for consideration here. Or not consideration, but just for review. Okay, go on to item 15 is the Village Clerk's Report.
No report, thank you.
Okay. Village trustees report. We will start on my right, trustee Patrick.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Summer is coming when the pool at Jefferson gets filled with water. It has been filled over the weekend, and it's getting ready to go. So that's a good sign that summer is close. Jefferson Pool's also got a few open positions that they're still looking to hire. If you have any interest in any of those positions, please visit the village website. That's our pool getting underway. I'd also like to thank the village staff, the manager, and the president. As a veteran myself, I appreciate the village proclamation for Veterans Remembrance Day as well as Military Appreciation Month. It's a good thing that we've done there, so thank you for that. Also, the Villa Park Bulldogs update beat the Carroll Stream Sox 16-1 in their last game. Kyle May had a grand slam in the 4th inning. And then also Joseph Shelby, pitcher, had 2 pickoffs from the mound. So they are doing a great job out there, and as I get more updates, I will keep you all informed as well.
Is he left-handed or right-handed?
He is a righty. He's got some really good moves. They all do. A bunch of great kids with the Villa Park Youth Baseball League.
What year is that? What age is that?
They are, that is up to 14 years old. Yeah. So they're doing a really good job out there. And again, to Parks and Recreation staff, you guys are doing a great job on the fields, maintaining those. They do travel. We've had the opportunity to see other municipalities' fields, and it just makes us appreciate ours a little bit more. So thank you for all of that. And then just lastly, to close it out, again, thank you to our first responders out there. I'm excited that we were able to pass the agenda item tonight for our police department. That is going to be very beneficial for us, as well as congratulations to the new deputy chief and lieutenant that we have promoted tonight. So
just one deputy chief, to be
one
clear.
Deputy chief and the lieutenant tonight. So thank you for all that you do. Thank you for coming to work every day and keeping us safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Cordova.
So hello everyone. I on Saturday attended the ribbon cutting at Sugar Creek. That project is amazing. It's quite the undertaking that they did. They took all the corrugated steel out of there. They put rocks. While we were there on the tour, we saw some pretty cool migratory birds there. They had turtles on these cool little logs that were on the side, and the golf course in general looks great. So kudos to everyone that was involved. And then it was really nice intergovernmental with Elmhurst Park District. So if you haven't had a chance to get out there, it's open, and we've had wonderful weather for it.
Great. Okay. Trustee Kozar.
I didn't bring up at amendments to agenda, but we had continued the discussion for recording Parks and Rec to the date certain of May 22nd. We don't get the agenda until Friday at 5:02 p.m., so at that point, it's too late to put anything on the agenda and too late for doing something at the board. So that needs to be on our next meeting.
Thank you. Sorry.
Let's have it on there.
Yeah, there was a lot on here tonight, so I forgot that we got date certain that one.
We talked about it on Wednesday, and then it just didn't get back on. I apologize. It's not. I'm not saying it's Nick's fault. We didn't get it back on the agenda. Apologize.
That's all.
That's it? Okay. Trustee Alfano.
Thank you. It was nice to meet many of the village staffers who came out to the reception after. I know that took some time out of your evening, but thank you for coming and having conversations with the new board members. I really appreciated the time that you spent. And also, we're getting towards the end of the school year, so congratulations to those Willowbrook graduates. Thank you to our educators and staff in D88 and D48 and D45 as they wrap up their year, and we get ready to bring our kids back to our home and do what we do as families. It's really important to recognize the hard work that our educators do on a daily basis for our community. Also, that's a good reminder, kids are going to be out of school soon, so please make sure you're slowing down and watching for them. Congratulations to the Fund Committee and the Environmental Concerns Commission on the recycling event that was held this past Saturday. And then also we have Memorial Day coming up, so I know that earlier it was mentioned that we do have the ceremony on the 29th at 11 o'clock, I think that was. It's really important to take some time out of that celebration with your family and friends to remember what that's all about. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Kumar.
Yeah, I would like to back off of Trustee Alfano. I first want to say Happy Memorial Day. Especially, I think we should, it was very touching to have Cooper Marinette come out and do what he did for the veterans, which is the whole meaning of Memorial Day, and it was just a perfect timing, and so I'm so happy to see that. And also, absolutely congratulations to I had one graduating senior from Willowbrook High School, super proud of her, and congratulations to all the other Willowbrook seniors who graduated from Willowbrook High School. It was a great occasion. I was there, and as usual, it was very well run considering that there were so many happy graduates.
Good. Thank you. Trustee Corkery.
No report this week.
Okay. We're on to the President's report. We have a couple items. This Thursday, the 25th, between 3 and 6 o'clock, our Community Development Department will have a meeting up here in the boardroom for builders and contractors to discuss problems, good points, bad points, ease of getting permits, and other items about building in Villa Park. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and thank you to Director McLaughlin for getting that together, and Manager Harline. So up here between 3 and 6, if you got any questions on permitting in Villa Park and how to get one and the process, and if you've got any comments or questions, this Thursday, the 25th, between 3 and 6 o'clock up here in the boardroom. The Coffee with the Board will be a week from this Saturday, June 3rd, 9 o'clock up here in the boardroom. As usual, we're open to any comments and questions that residents can have. As it was brought up by Trustee Alfano, our spring sweep was this past Saturday. I was not able to make it, but I'm sure that the Environmental Concerns Commission will be out within a couple of weeks with their final report on the amount of material that was recycled or disposed up here. Again, the Memorial Day, 11 o'clock at Cortese Park. In case of inclement weather, it will be at the VFW on St. Charles next to the Jewel. But it looks like it's supposed to be a nice weekend for a change for Memorial Day, so hopefully we will be at Cortese. Just a quick comment on our stop signs in Villa Park that people don't really obey anymore. I've seen a lot of, and I'm sure everyone has, a lot of people going through stop signs, rolling through them, or just not stopping at all, and a lot of speeding going on. And I bring this up because there was a pretty nasty accident about 2 doors from my house on, I believe it was Saturday. Somebody missed a stop sign and got hit and flipped the car over. So fortunately, no one was hurt. Everybody walked away from it, but you know, let's slow down, watch out, you know, the kids are getting out of school, so let's slow down and start obeying our stop signs. One thing, Love Your Neighbor Day is coming up. The 9th annual will be held on September 16th. The rain date is the 23rd, between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. This is anyone that cannot do work around their house or needs some help with minor electrical, painting, landscaping work. You can get some help. This is the Christian Church of Villa Park at 1336 South Villa Avenue. They're the ones that sponsor this. You can go to, you can email at loveyourneighbor15@yahoo.com, or you can leave a message at 630-833-7262. loveyourneighbor15@yahoo.com, and you can also sign up to help if you'd like to do any kind of remodeling to help these people out. And finally, there's been some comments about trustees attending commission meetings and whether or not we're allowed to have more than 2 trustees. Is that a violation of the Open Meetings Act? And I asked our attorney, Melissa Wolf, to just kind of give a little blow up the date on that and what the law is, what the rules are, and what we can and cannot do as trustees at commission meetings.
Thank you, President Guzon. Yes, we did have this discussion, and ultimately, my opinion is the attendance of trustees at a public committee meeting is not, in and of itself, a violation of the Open Meetings Act. And speaking during public comment during such a committee meeting is also not a violation of the Open Meetings Act for the trustees. The purpose of the Open Meetings Act is to allow for or ensure, it's one of our transparency laws, and it's to ensure public attendance, allowance, and input at meetings of a public body. And a committee is considered a meeting of the public body. So, public comment is a component that's required at that meeting, and trustees may attend the meeting, and if they wish to speak, they may do so without violating the Open Meetings Act. What the Open Meetings Act wants to prevent is a meeting of the board, the village board itself, that's not noticed properly. So although the board members may attend the committee meetings and may speak as public during public comment, they should refrain from any kind of deliberation amongst each other. In the event that there's a certain amount of trustees, that could be a majority of a quorum. So for this board, it would be 3 trustees. So if 3 trustees are deliberating during a committee meeting, it could then convert to a meeting of the village board. And although that meeting is publicly noticed, there would be no agenda of a board posted that would identify to the public that the board would be meeting to discuss that item. So although board members are allowed to attend committee meetings, I just suggest you be careful about any deliberations amongst the board members, but you don't have to worry about how many board members attend a committee meeting as long as you're there as a public member and you're not discussing the business of the village amongst the board members.
Good. Thank you. Okay, we will move on to village manager's report.
Just want to remind everybody that the next time we meet on June 12th, people who get their trash on Monday will have received, I hope, your recycling and trash cart from LRS. The time to sign up ahead of time is closed, so wait a month or so. If you decide that the 96-gallon trash cart is too big for you, then we can see if you'd like to get a 65-gallon trash cart to go with your 65-gallon recycling container. I'm going to guess that anybody who is invested in the village enough to be watching this meeting is probably knows this, but if you know anybody who hasn't, once we get the rugged carts out, I think we're going to get rid of a lot of our problems we're having with solid waste collection. We do get them. We do get a couple a day, and I think once we convert people to using the rugged carts that are designed for being picked up by the automated truck, that we will get past a lot of our problems. But June 12th is the beginning of the distribution of the carts. Few days before that, they're going to have them staged in a village lot near basically where the back end of the property where we park where the Eclipse and the old Cherokee Rose were. Eclipse is, Cherokee Rose was. So those will be staged there, and then they'll be handed out the next week or so to get everyone their recycling and trash carts. Wanted to compliment our police force. They couple things. First of all, in addition to helping out with the Lilac Parade, which they building relationships with neighboring police forces, which led to our a chance to work with the feds on that project we talked about earlier. They also raised $4,765 for with the cop on top of the rooftop at for Special Olympics. That's more than double what they raised last year, so I think that's pretty cool. And in terms of a cow meeting, what I would like to do, if you guys are up for it, maybe wear jeans or not your best clothes on the 12th and come at 6 o'clock, and I'd like to take you on a tour of the buildings the village owns on Home Street. One of the reasons for this is we have a budgeted in this year, and hope to have a resolution actually to start a study of our buildings. I think it'd be great if you guys saw some of the conditions of some of the buildings on this block. To get a really good look, you probably don't want to wear your nicest suit. If you guys are up for that, I'd like to do that at the next cow meeting, and that is all that I have. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, one more thing. July 4th parade, we're still looking for people who want to sponsor it. If you can let us know before the end of this week and you're sponsoring it at the level of $250 more, we can still get your logo on the t-shirt and on the banners and such, depending upon what you want to sponsor. And we have at least one $2,500 sponsor. The Safari Land has agreed to be a sponsor, and they're going to have a couple of their maybe one or two of their mascots in the parade, and Standard Equipment is looking to be a major sponsor as well. So anyway, cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item 19 is executive session pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2 C1 regarding the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, and C11 regarding litigation when action against, affecting, or on behalf of the village has been filed and is pending before a court, or when the village finds that an action is probable or imminent. And do I get a motion for going into executive session? Trustee Patrick?
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Trustee Alfano? Okay, questions, comments? Okay, Clerk Kornecki, please.
Okay, Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
President Casone?
Yes. So we will be going into executive session. We will adjourn our meeting out of executive session. So everyone have a great week, and we will see you back here on June 12th. Thank you.